It's time to get lost in the Midcard. This Believe in Pro Wrestling property is brought to you by Bet Online, the continued #1 source for all your sports betting needs. Join now and receive your 100% welcome bonus on your first deposit when you use our promo code BELIEVE. Now, here are Jeremy Bennett and Matt Black on the Believe Podcast Network.
Yeah! Welcome to the podcast where there's always fireworks on Labor Day weekend in pro wrestling, but geez, we didn't expect this much. It's Lost the Midcard. Welcome. Thank you. Hope you had a great Labor Day weekend. Unfortunately, most of us going back to work tomorrow, but as always, these holiday weekends go by way too fast. But we are here. We're going to lead you up to Monday Night Raw tonight. Only a couple of things announced ahead of time for Monday Night Raw, so we'll get to that at the end of the show. Of course, we're going to talk two pay-per-views, WWE Payback and AEW's All Out. We'll briefly go over All In, too, just some general thoughts. As we were out last week, I was sick, and still getting over some of that stuff, but overall feeling pretty good. But we are back, and of course, we were gone last week, so it'd be remiss to not give our thoughts with the family of Wyndham Rotunda, a very beloved wrestler of ours. If you've followed our show for nearly 9 years now, one of our favorites on the show. So very sad to see him pass, and of course, the legendary Terry Funk, a guy I grew up watching. He was always tremendous in his style, his own style of wrestling. So we lost a couple of greats there while we were off. Let's get to it. Thank you for joining. If you haven't done so already, make sure you head to YouTube, look for Believe in Pro Wrestling, and hit that subscribe button. Also hit that bell notification so you know when we go live, which is every week, about 10 after 6 Central or 10 after 7 Central on the East Coast. And a lot to get into here, but first, I am your host, Jeremy Bennett. I am on the Twitter at JB Huskers. As always, my co-host, he is on the Twitter at Raw F Showtime, is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how's it going?
It's going.
It's clobbering time.
Definitely going.
It's been clobbering time on your writing job, hasn't it?
I'm so sick of talking about this, man. You have no idea.
As Matt said on the Twitter earlier, this will be the last time you hear me talk about the CM Punk situation for the foreseeable future. Until the next time he shows up somewhere. Stephen Chambers, thanks for joining us. We'll get into the report. I think that was actually last year's Royal Rumble.
Yes, I was going to say, let's not misinterpret what Fightful reported. This was December of last year when Punk floated out the idea of leaving AEW to return at the 2023 Royal Rumble, and then go on to face Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. And something tells me Kevin Owens wouldn't be too interested in doing that.
In main event,
something tells me a good majority of the main roster on WWE right now has no interest in working with Punk.
No, probably not. Mark Cho, hope you're doing better. Good to see you here joining us. Insane week of wrestling. Yes, it has definitely been. Always is. There's always so much going on Labor Day weekend. It's great. Bell, thanks for joining us here. 50-50 on whether Punk goes back to WWE or not. Stranger things have happened, but can you imagine if WWE puts CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania? Rest in peace to.
I'm gonna touch on that real quick.
Okay.
I know Cody's never gonna reveal the reasoning when he left AEW. But I think some of it had to do with Punk.
Maybe.
So I don't think Cody would be overly thrilled with CM Punk coming over there right now. Like, I don't think that there's a lot of young guys who probably wouldn't mind it, but that main guard, the Seth Rollins, the Roman Reigns, the Cody Rhodes, the Kevin Owens, nobody wants him there.
No.
I don't think Triple H wants him there. Vince doesn't want him there.
I think it was promotion for 2K23. I think it was Nick Hausman that was interviewing Seth Rollins, and he
called him a cancer.
Called him a cancer. He goes, absolutely does not want him there. And yeah, Steven saying, rest in peace to Smash Bros. Singer Steve Harwell. Yeah, I have my own thoughts on that guy. He's not the best guy in the world, but of course, unfortunately, he passed away at too young of an age. Craig, thanks for joining us, man. Ozzy, will CM Punk show up on Raw? No.
No.
He's not going to.
You got a better chance of him showing up at Impact 1000 Saturday night.
Also, Miro's hot wife. Yes, Miro's hot, flexible wife. Tony Khan did confirm at the media scrum that she is not signed to a long-term deal. So
hopefully that changes.
Hopefully, because we got a story in there. We'll get into that story in a little bit. But speaking of stories, well, let's talk about Phil. That guy. Yeah, that look on his face says it all, doesn't it, Matt? A media press release was released 2 or 3 days ago, prior to all
Saturday night.
Saturday, thank you. It's been a wild weekend. So
I was working when the bomb dropped. It
oh boy,
made my shift less than pleasant. So yeah, I know when it happened. It was Saturday, roughly around 4:40 to 4:45 Eastern Standard Time.
And you're like, well, there goes the rest of my day.
Yeah.
The official statement. All Elite Wrestling has terminated the wrestler and employment agreements between Phillip Brooks and AEW with cause effective immediately. The termination was confirmed today by Tony Khan. Blah, blah, blah. Termination follows a week-long internal investigation of an incident that occurred backstage at AEW All in London, Sunday, August 27th. Following the investigation, AEW Discipline Committee met and later convened with outside legal counsel before making the unanimous recommendation to Khan to get some balls. And that was actually not on the report, but that CM Punk would be terminated with cause. And Khan offered the following statement. Phil played an important role within AEW, and I thank him for his contributions. The termination of his AEW contracts with cause is ultimately my decision and mine alone. Of course, I wish I didn't have to share this news, which may come as a disappointment to many of our fans. Nevertheless, I am making the decision in the best interests of many amazing people who make AEW possible every week, our talent, staff, venue operators, and many others whose efforts are unsung but essential to bringing our fans great shows on television and arenas and stadiums throughout the world. So yeah, obviously, if you've been living under a rock, after the All In match with Jungle Boy and Hook, Jack Perry and Jungle Boy, Jack Perry and Punk apparently got into it, got physical, some choking going on. Tony saying he feared for his life, I think, was a bit much. I don't know how you could fear for your life in a situation like that unless you're fighting near
CM Punk lunges at you and threatens to quit your company and knocks monitors onto you. I think you can feel fear for your life. Tony Khan's a little scrawny dude, man.
That's true.
CM Punk might not be able to defend himself in a real fight against someone like Miro, but I'm sure he can rough up poor little Tony Khan.
Miro. I'd love to see that happen, actually. It can be kind of funny. Yeah, there was also Miro was kind of involved in some of this. Punk had seemingly Miro and Punk supposedly spoke midweek and had a laugh about it. They had some issues, but they maintained they had a good relationship. But yeah, the whole Jungle Boy situation. Again, I mean, it's like if we would have done a show last week, Matt, we would have said the same thing we said 2 weeks ago. When is Tony Khan gonna grow some balls? And finally, now, it happened. The
man needed to take his company and his locker room back, and he did.
Yep.
CM Punk's fired. Jack Perry is indefinitely suspended, and a statement was made.
And
it needed to be done. Bottom line, it had to happen.
And I guess Seth Rollins is right. CM Punk's a cancer. But yeah, we basically just went over it. But yeah, Punk was open to leaving AEW in 2022, which of course was a couple months after the brawl out situation with the Elite Kenny Omega, to appear at the 2023 Royal Rumble. Of course, now a lot of people are saying, "Oh, 2024 Royal Rumble, 10 years since Punk's been with the company. Is he coming back? Matt, what percent chance would you give CM Punk for coming back?
To WWE, less than 10%.
Yeah.
I don't believe the people in charge or the top of the roster want him there.
It ain't worth it.
His best shot at this point is Impact. And he's going to have to take a massive pay cut to go there. But if he wants to restore his legacy and get some goodwill back under his name, he'll take the deal and go there.
Yeah.
If he really loves wrestling, like he says, that's his next stop. Because let's face it, the early era of TNA Impact, he burned his bridge there.
Yeah.
ROH, he had a good run there, but he had a lot of backstage issues that people conveniently want to come over now. Same thing in WWE. Same thing happened in AEW. That's 4 different main national companies in the span of 2 decades that this man has had issues in. It's not a coincidence. It's a pattern. And the problem is, like I stated over the weekend, I think CM Punk needs anger management or some form of therapy. And of course, I got grief for that online. But what's in all the headlines this afternoon? Kevin Nash says CM Punk has a mental issue and needs to go to therapy. Heaven forbid I have the same opinion as Kevin Nash. But, apparently it's somewhere along the same lines.
On the Click This podcast, he says, honest to God, I mean this in all seriousness, but what I take from this whole thing is he needs serious help. He needs mental help when it comes to destructive, or when it becomes destructive, when there's a chance this costs you millions of dollars and you just continue to push and push and push. They have to let him go. I tell you right now, man, if I would have broke in and saw some motherfucker doing that shit, I would have said, oh, if he can get away with it, well, fuck, I'm going to do it. And I just think that Tony Khan needs to get somebody there to be the heater. He needs to bring somebody in. Vince McMahon wouldn't put up with that shit. It's disrespectful to Tony. To me, Punk is almost a bully at this point because he knows that Tony is not. It's just not in his DNA. And we were talked about this 2 weeks ago, Matt. We talked about that locker room needs an Undertaker. Who do you think?
You know who it should be?
Who should it be?
Mark Henry.
Yeah. Who's gonna fuck with Mark?
Exactly. Mark Henry should be Tony's right-hand man when it comes to locker room situations like this.
Yeah.
And if you want to double up, make it Mark Henry and Paul White.
Yeah.
You really gonna fuck around now?
Fuck
around and find out.
Judge, jury,
see what's gonna happen.
Judge,
fuck
jury,
around with Mark Henry and Paul White.
Judge, jury, and the right hand of Paul White.
Yeah, seriously, those are the perfect people. Tony doesn't want to deal with this shit. And I don't fucking blame him. I wouldn't want to deal with this shit either. So I'm taking 2 people with uber experience.
Yeah.
In the world of professional wrestling, and Mark Henry and Paul White, and I'm saying you guys are heading up the talent relations issues going forward. I will relay messages through you. You guys will handle it.
Yeah.
And you guys will, be the end all be all of this situation. It ain't nobody going to fuck with Mark Henry and Paul White.
No.
Nobody. That would fix a ton of situations in AEW right then and there.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to the chat, Ozzy, is Jack Perry suspended or fired? Just indefinitely suspended is all at this point.
Indefinitely suspended. He'll be back. He'll be back in a few weeks.
Yeah.
I think no later than Full Gear, because if you recall when the Elite got suspended, they were back in time for Full Gear in November.
Yeah.
So it kind of falls around the same lines. Like I
honestly think
he'll be back before Full Gear. I think he'll be back. Pretty not too far.
I would say maybe the Dynamite after Wrestle Dream.
That's fair. Miss a pay-per-view payday. We'll miss 2 pay-per-view paydays and All Out and in Wrestle Dream. That's fair.
Yeah.
I think that would send a statement. And I see everybody joking about Billy Corgan wanting CM Punk for the NWA, and I'm sure that he would.
Well, he hired Tyrus.
But that man can't afford CM Punk.
No.
Impact's as stretch as it is. There ain't no way in hell you see that man show up in the NWA.
No credit. Ed's got a lot more money.
His first day there, he's going to have a backstage fight with a producer named Tyrus, and he's going to be right there out on his ass.
Is he producing now? Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
he's retired from wrestling, but he's going to be working backstage for them going forward,
Yeah,
like an
EC
agent in an agent producer role. So
EC3, your biggest babyface there, retiring Tyrus for you.
yeah, EC3 saving the NWA wasn't on my bingo card this year, but here we are.
Elite and Perry celebrating with the bubbly. Elite had
I
some fun.
really don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
I don't think they're all just celebrating over the fact that somebody lost a job. I think they're probably regrettable that it had to come to this point. And Punk had a chance to come back and be an adult.
Mhm.
And he came back and continued on with the same fucking issues that he had
Yeah.
the last time he was there. And now we're hearing about new issues about him giving William Regal grief.
Yeah.
When Regal came into AEW.
When he debuted.
And that's a fucking slap in the face. The man got fired. And you're not gonna shake his hand and tell him you don't like him because he's a stooge for Triple H. Well, guess where that stooge for Triple H is back working? Back at WWE, where you want to go, where they don't want to have anything to do with your melodramatic ass.
Yeah. You better hope that your TV show gets picked up for 10 more seasons, but it probably
Look,
won't.
I love heels. I think
Yeah.
the show is phenomenal, but that show would be great with or without Punk.
Yeah.
Like Punk does not make or break that show. It's everybody else, on that show. And like, look, at the end of the day, Punk, the performer, I will always be a fan of. He was one of
Yes.
my favorite wrestlers for
Yes.
the past 2 decades, and I overlooked his shit time and time again as it was somebody else's fault and not his. But it comes to a point where I need to freaking realize as a fan the common denominator in all this shit for the past 2 decades is always Punk.
Yep. Yeah,
and that, look, where there's smoke, there's fire, and unfortunately, Punk's the problem. And I legitimately hope he goes to anger management, and I hope he gets the help that he needs, and I hope he can come back and do a run at Impact, and try to restore his name and his legacy in this industry, because right now, it's been pissed on. In the easiest sense of the word.
I think Impact needs a better TV deal than if they're going to think about getting Punk back. I mean, being on Access, which people have limited access to, especially after the big Spectrum Disney thing going down right before college football season. A lot of people are defecting. Like I defected when I moved to my current place. I defected from Spectrum after being with them for way too long. It went to fiber internet and YouTube TV, and it's a lot even cheaper. And I love YouTube TV, but I just wish they had Access, because I like Access TV. I like Impact. I like the Rock documentaries they do. It's a great channel. It's just, God, I miss it. But it's not everywhere. And so I think they need a higher profile cable deal if they're going to think about bringing anything close to CM Punk to the company, I think.
Look, you got to at least try.
Yeah.
If you're willing to bring that presence into your locker room, and you truly believe that he's not going to cause any problems,
yeah,
it can't hurt to try. He's really good friends with Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah.
And Tommy Dreamer works in backstage management at Impact. So if Tommy wants to vouch for him and bring him into that locker room on a full-time basis, as long as Punk will, be accepting of the lower pay scale, obviously.
And Dreamer will have to be
I could see it happening.
Dreamer have to be a babysitter too. He's going to have to lay the hammer down.
We also need to keep in mind, we don't know the details of Punk's termination. We do not know if he has a non-compete. We don't know if he could show up on Raw tonight, heaven forbid, or show up at Impact 1000 on Saturday night, or if he's under a 90-day thing. But you got to keep in mind, Bound for Glory is in Chicago. Survivor Series is in Chicago. So I'm just saying, I give him,
those rumors aren't going to die.
I give him a 40 to 45% chance of showing up at Impact. WWE is right under 10%.
Yeah.
I think I truly believe Impact's a legitimate possibility if he's serious about restoring his reputation. And that's where the key comes from. If he legitimately cares about what people think of him, and he wants to restore his legacy in this business, Impact is probably his best bet right now.
He's pretty fucking hard-headed though, so I wouldn't be surprised if he
I'm
doesn't.
not arguing that.
Yeah. Mark Cho, Punk couldn't defend himself against a scrawny dude named Mickey Gall. Ooh, little UFC shot there.
Yeah, but Mickey Gall is at least a mixed martial artist.
Yeah.
So Tony Khan
ain't
isn't
no
Mickey
mixed
Gall. Like let's be real here.
Bell in the chat. In all realness, I do think Punk will file a lawsuit against AEW for that money. God knows for what.
Well, CM Punk loves lawyers in court, so that's been very evident over the last decade.
Colt
So
Cabana.
if he wants to do something like that, it wouldn't surprise me. But all it's going to do is tarnish his legacy even further.
She goes on about the 50-50. She says 50-50 because WWE will be under new ownership soon.
And that new ownership already worked with CM Punk, and they saw that he was a bomb and didn't do anything for their company. So I'm not really sure that new ownership would be more than keen on bringing in a guy who just burned another bridge in the wrestling business.
Yeah, there's a guy that works there called Dana White, and he said that Punk would never fight for him again. So, Ozzy talking into Monday Night Raw. Would Jay join the Judgment Day? I don't see that happening.
No. Jay's going to be a babyface.
Yeah, he'll be he might be world champ. He may be world champion one of these days.
I legitimately would not be surprised if he's the one to take the title from Rollins, because they don't want Cody to do it, because Cody's line is for Roman, and he still his announcement on Payback still should have been I've been traded to SmackDown. And I willingly went so we could bring Jey Uso back to the company and move him to Raw. Like, it would have made sense, and you could have started the WrestleMania build between him and Roman without Cody being forced to win the Royal Rumble in January.
Mark and Paul, the disciplinary committee. Oh boy, that'd be a 1-2 punch. I tell you that much. Safet, thanks for joining us.
I wouldn't fuck with him. Ain't no way I'd fuck with him.
Ace, we talked about that earlier. The news from Fightful was actually for him to appear last January, not this coming January. So
and this was pitched as Punk was like sending out to WWE. At no point in this report did it say that WWE had any genuine interest in doing this. It's just Punk's like, hey, what if we did this?
And keep in mind,
like, yeah, probably not.
And keep in mind, this was weeks after that all out.
Well, months, because this was in December.
Yeah, it wasn't
in September.
Oh, it was all out. Yeah, I was thinking Full Gear for some reason.
Yeah, so it was a few months after that fact.
They're just gonna forget it exists.
They're just gonna ignore it.
Yeah,
it was a stupid storyline to begin with.
They'll forget that it exists. Yeah, there you go. He'll bring it with him to Impact and put it in a trash can.
And honestly, they should have just had. If they had any semblance of what was going to happen in the days to come, Joe should have beat Punk.
Oh, no shit. No kidding.
There's no way Punk should have gone over.
Would Punk reveal his non-compete if that does not violate his release from AEW?
If it doesn't violate his release, I'm sure he will talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that there's terms and stuff. I know before he returned to Collision that he signed papers for a non-disparagement agreement between him and AEW.
Yeah, don't look to Twitter. Don't look to Twitter for breaking news either. Hasn't tweeted since June of 2022.
Yeah, when the first time he got hurt.
Yep.
Right after the winning the title Double or Nothing.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's video footage of this thing too.
Oh yeah, the footage from Wembley is there, and like I would not be surprised if someday that suddenly just leaks and finds its way out onto the internet. Like ironic.
Dark Side of the Ring, CM Punk and AEW. Dark Side of the Ring. Ironically, Punk should elevate NWA to a better standing, but they don't have the money. Like I said, Impact's got more money than the NWA. Ozzy, it's gonna be called Twitter. I don't give a shit.
I will forever call it Twitter. It will never be X to me, and Elon Musk can eat a dick.
Just disappointed that the dude was all about speaking his mind and gets angry over a Hangman comment and a Perry line at a pay-per-view. Talk about being sensitive. Yeah, there was a
the dude has extremely thin skin.
There was a great sign that I don't know if it was brought to All Out, and it may have been confiscated because they did confiscate some CM Punk signs, but not all of them. I saw some that was like Punk on a toilet paper roll. It was labeled ultra soft. So boy,
I did not see that.
that was good. Yeah, I thought
But
I thought I DM'd that to you.
It's exhausting.
Does
Like,
Bell in the chat? Does anyone think he wanted to get fired, or is it just me?
I would not be surprised.
All the shit he was trying to start.
But he's threatened to quit multiple times. He was heard by multiple accounts backstage at Wembley, him yelling about how much he hated the place.
Yeah.
Like, I would not be surprised if he got fired and he said, "Thank God, now I can move on." Like, I would not be the slightest bit surprised.
Since Cage announced at the Scrum that he re-signed with AEW, let the Edge rumors begin. Yes.
Let the Edge rumors begin. Those Edge rumors began weeks ago, my friend.
Yeah.
I think the Edge rumors have been going on for months.
Speaking of Edge, I saw Alter Bridge this Thursday in concert with Seven Dust. That was a hell of a show. My God, this is the first time I've seen Miles Kennedy sing live. Oh boy, that guy is insane. That was so good. Alter Bridge put on a damn good show. I was very cool, and of course, the song before the encore was Metalingus. So they did play it at the end of the show. So that's pretty good. Punk could buy NWA. Yeah, probably.
And do what?
Yeah, I don't know. Make himself the man.
Yeah, look, if Billy Corgan can't get the NWA a national television deal, who's going to give one to CM Punk? Let's be real here. Like, CM Punk buying the NWA means absolutely nothing. It wouldn't work. It absolutely wouldn't work. And to Corgan's point, it's probably not even for sale. So
yeah. All right, let's get out of Punk. We got some wrestling to talk about the last 20 minutes. All in London was last weekend. Of course, we missed that due to me being sick here this week. Overall, what did you think, Matt, of just the venue itself, the atmosphere, and the fact that MJF and Adam Cole are still good friends?
I thought it was a great show. I think we've had a lot of great wrestling over the past 2 weeks. I thought All In was a great show. I really enjoyed Payback on Saturday night, and I thought All Out over delivered last night. I said a couple hours before the show last night that I thought that roster was going to go out there last night with something to prove, and I feel like they absolutely did. And I thought that show ruled. I saw a lot of people that were saying they thought All Out was better than All In.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would go that far, but I really enjoyed both shows.
All In.
And I think a lot of people are overlooking how great All In and All Out were because of all the CM Punk bullshit.
What was your match of the night on All In? Was it Bucks FTR or was it MJF Cole?
It was Bucks FTR.
I really liked Jericho and Ospreay. I thought that was a lot better than I thought it would be. Meltzer gave it 5 stars, I think. I think the tag match was my favorite of the night, but all 3 of those delivered. I thought they were great. So we got that out of the way. Now let's go from All Out or All In. I knew I'd fuck that up somewhere today. Let's go from All In.
You're frozen, pal.
Yeah, I know.
Oh boy.
There we go. My Microsoft Edge there froze for a bit. Not sure what happened there. But am I back now, Matt?
I have the All Out screen, so I can't tell you if you're back or not.
Oh, can you hear me talk? How about that?
Yes, I can hear you.
I should be back now. All Out occurred last night from Chicago, Illinois. I like how they had 2 completely different sets. I love the tunnel at All In. And with the graphics and shit on the walls, I thought that was a very cool design. And then a completely different design with the Chicago train randomly driving by the All Out logo. I thought it was a pretty cool set. I like how they did it separately. 0 Hour had 3 matches over budget battle royal. Hangman Adam Page winning that one. $50,000 going to a local Chicago schools charity there. Pretty cool for Tony Khan to do that in the name of Hangman Adam Page. We had a women's tag match, 6-woman tag match, and also the trios titles were on the line. The Acclaimed defeating Jeff Jarrett and company. Then we kick off things with the ROH tag team titles. Better Than You, baby, against the Dark Order. Dark Order now kind of heelish, trying to get back a little attraction that they've lost in recent months. I thought it was a pretty good match. I kind of like seeing the Dark Order being a little more heelish now, even though they're great in the comedy side of things, but I kind of like seeing them in this role because now it kind of helps them maybe kind of rebuild. They lost, they're basically down to 3 guys now, and I think hopefully they will rebuild, and I believe so. Lots of meat slapping going on in this pay-per-view. One of them was Samoa Joe and Shane Taylor for the ROH TV title.
Too short.
Yeah, it was. It was only 6 minutes.
That was my only complaint about that match. I wanted it to be longer.
A lot of people don't get to see Shane Taylor on a weekly basis. We both know he's a great talent. God, I almost want to let's put him and Keith Lee back together. They started in Texas that way, and that's when we actually, Matt and I, got to see them firsthand in 2016 at
I'm desperate for them to do something with Keith Lee, so I'm open to the idea.
Yeah, it was like Supercard of Honor. They were like the opening match or something like that. Luchasaurus Darby Allin. My God, Darby is just, how does Darby do it, man? That dude is insane. And Christian at the scrum asking about how everybody's fathers are doing.
Christian was the highlight of that scrum last night.
Was he? I haven't seen it yet,
without question, tremendous. The man's dry sense of humor is unmatched, and it was just his time on that scrum was just hysterical to me from start to finish. It was my favorite part of the whole thing.
One of my highlights of the night was Miro and Powerhouse Hobbs. They put on a hell of a match, and we
loved this match.
Found out how many different meat chants we could get from this match as well, which is great. The crowd coming up with chanting meat every time someone got hit. Then it turned into a meat forever chant. Oh, it was hilarious. But jokes aside and crowd chants aside, these guys put on a hell of a 15-minute match. It was well done. Oh, there's a steak joke for you. But and Powerhouse Hobbs shaking hands, being a nice guy, and then attacks Miro from behind. And the hot and flexible CJ Perry finally makes her AEW debut. What'd you think when you saw Lana come out, Matt?
Very excited about it because their chemistry on screen is undeniable. And I really hope that everything involving him picks up in a big way
because
of fan interest going forward. And I hope it leaves Tony Khan in no other choice other than to bring her in full time. Because I think she's always been a very important part of his act. And I think the two of those together in AEW could do fantastic things together.
They set up a story. Why did Miro reject his hot, flexible wife helping him?
Because he denounced her a few weeks ago on Collision.
Yeah. Ozzy, when are they going to lower the prices? That's a good point, because now they're coming at us with a pay-per-view in October.
Well, I believe it's only a matter of time until
HBO.
The AEW streaming platform will be on Max, and that's what they're currently gearing up for right now.
Mark Cho with a good point. All Out definitely had no right to be so good with 2 matches only announced before Dynamite. Yeah, that's just do not do this again. Back-to-back pay-per-view weeks. They pulled it off though, Matt, but
and they're gonna do it again next year. Tony's already been very, very blatant that he's doing this again next year.
Yeah. Oh well. But it's great to see CJ Perry out there looking ravishing, I may say. Also another good match I thought was the TBS Championship. Ruby Soho and Chris Statlander was really good. Tony Storm costing Ruby, so apparently she's out of the Outcast. I would say I'm kind of liking this kind of this like crazy aloof Tony Storm character that she's developed ever since she's lost that title. You liking it too?
Not really.
Really?
It's slowly growing on me. I might end up loving it, but right now I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah, Steven, I would not mind seeing a rematch of Miro as well. Oh boy, that's gonna be great. Meet Forever, a great chant. Marcho, they wanted Sean Stasiak. No, I don't think anybody in that crowd even knows who he is. Yeah. Strap match, Danielson and Starks. Boy, whew, they beat the piss out of each other. And then speaking of beating the piss out of each other, literally the last well, at least 4 of the last 5 matches on the card was all about people beating the piss out of each other between Danielson and Starks, and then Shibata and Eddie against Claudio and Wheeler, Kenny and Takeshita. What were your thoughts of Takeshita going over on that one?
Hated it.
I'm surprised.
There's no reason he needed to go over clean on Omega twice in 1 week. Absolutely no reason. You want to put him over him, fine, but it shouldn't have been clean. Didn't like it at all. And I've apologized to everybody ahead of time. JB is probably going to be wrapping up the show on his own because my laptop decided to be a jackass, and it's going to be dying sooner rather than later. And I apologize to everybody ahead of time. I'm trying to shut down as many things on it as possible to try to get through this, but it's not looking good right now. Yeah, I just got that little stupid blue screen.
Oh boy.
So yeah.
FTR and the Young Bucks, could they coexist against Bullet Club Gold? Well, not exactly. Though they had some cool moves. They basically did each other's moves with one of each of the teams between FTR and the Young Bucks. I thought that was kind of cool. Bullet Club Gold getting the win though on that. And then the main event, speaking of guys just beating the dog shit out of each other, Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy. This was a hell of a main event. I got differing thoughts on Cassidy dropping the belt to Moxley after over 300 days. I like it in the fact that I think if an up-and-comer beats Moxley for the belt, it means a little more than beating Orange Cassidy. But still, man, that guy put that belt on the map, didn't he?
Yeah, the title means what it means because of Orange Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Moxley needed it, but I understand why they did it. And I hope that Tony's a long-term booker, so I hope that there's a plan in place of who's going to be taking this title off of Mox, and I hope it means a great deal. Honestly, I hope it's Eddie Kingston. I hope Kingston takes off him at Grand Slam. I hope it's a very short transitional reign for Moxley, and I think that would work out really, really well.
Steven Chambers has fired Matt's laptop.
Yeah, I want to fire it right now too. I will have this fixed next week, guys. I promise. I'll figure this out. But yeah, I'm gonna have to bounce. Enjoy Raw, everybody. Have a great rest of your night. Hopefully, Dynamite's great.
Before you
stick here with JB for the rest of the show, and
before you bail, just real quick, what were your thoughts on Payback? Did you like it?
Yeah, I thought it was a good show. I said that earlier. I think all 3 pay-per-views over the last 7 days have been very good. Unfortunately, they're all being overshadowed by Pepsi Phil. So,
that's about
and
right.
On that note, I bid you adieu. Enjoy Raw. I'll talk to y'all on the Twitter machine. It will never be X'd. Have a good night.
See you, Matt. All right, we are going to continue on with what happened on Saturday, which is, let me get Matt out of there. There we go. Bear with me just a moment here. All right, as I do a little shifting around there, let me try one more thing here. Hell, we'll just do it like this. I don't care. Moving on to what happened. Of course, yeah, just putting a bow on All Out. As Mark Cho said in the chat, with the week build and only 2 matches, going into Dynamite, I think they did a tremendous job turning it over. I hope they get a streaming deal in place, especially because, outside of doing a VPN or something like that, $20 or $50 for back-to-back weeks of pay-per-views is a little much. And then AEW announces a new pay-per-view, which is going to take place from Seattle, Washington on October 1st from the Climate Pledge Arena. It's going to be Wrestle Dream on Sunday, October 1st. And so they're just turning around and doing another pay-per-view a month later. It'll be interesting to see, and hopefully that the HBO deal comes through soon, because it's just the fact that that's a hundred, and if you go through BR Live, that's $150 within like a 5-week period that you're spending on AEW pay-per-views, and not many people are going to keep up with that. Doing it quarterly at 50 was fine for the model that you have, but now if you're starting to add more of these shows in as we go along, All In got added in, now Wrestle Dream is getting added in. I don't know, but in Seattle, Washington, I hope we have a good high-profile match for Bryan Danielson. Again, him and Ricky Starks had a great match in that strap match. I thought that was brilliant. It was great to have Ricky the Dragon Steamboat on commentary as well for that. But it'll be interesting to see. All right, let's shift gears to WWE Payback. It occurred on the Peacock this past Saturday, highlighted for the world title between Shinsuke Nakamura and Seth Rollins. The opening match was the steel cage match between Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. And man, I thought that was a tremendous opener. That was an amazing match. And if this is the last match of Trish Stratus's career, man, she went out on top. I almost think this was one of my favorite matches of the night. Might have been my match of the night right off the bat. They took the first 20 minutes of that pay-per-view and just took it to different levels. It was very, very physical. Zoe Stark getting involved, but ultimately not enough. Becky Lynch gets the win. Afterwards, Trish is berating Zoe. Zoe drops Trish with a Z360, which I love that finisher. That finisher is pretty damn cool. And that was probably my match of the night with those women. Now, we may see a Zoe-Trish match maybe down the line, but if that is truly it for Trish in the WWE, man, that was a tremendous way to go out. That was a great opener. Then we go from guest host John Cena, who introduces himself as the special guest referee in the next match against The Miz and L.A. Knight. Yeah! And I really enjoyed the LA Knight Miz match with Cena as referee. The Cena and LA Knight stare down gives me hope that maybe we get a program with those two guys down the road. But it was a very good match. It's been a great feud with those guys, and LA Knight continuing to win, continuing that trajectory. He's going to be on a lot of people's favorite lists for winning Royal Rumble this year. Obviously, Cody Rhodes is in there to finish the story. But, hopefully maybe with the fact that Jey Uso is coming over to Monday Night Raw, maybe we're getting a swerve and we find out that Cody is part of that. It was a trade and Cody was part of it. We'll see if that's kind of how that goes down. I'm not sure. Ozzy in the chat, poor tiny balls. Yes. Miz did a good job there, though. And Trish wanted the steel cage, and her and Becky pulled out a banger out of the bag. Love Trish's shout out to Victoria with the Widow's Peak. Yes, definitely. And, I think they had a chip on their shoulder for getting bumped from SummerSlam. They're supposed to wrestle at SummerSlam. I think they had a little chip on their shoulder, but, it remains to be seen. U.S. title, Rey Mysterio defeated Austin Theory. So good to see Rey Mysterio retain that title. Austin Theory get him away from the title scene for a while there on the U.S. title side. It was funny when the LWO was hoisting up Rey Mysterio with a big Cinnamon Toast Crunch logo in the background because it was the sponsor of the match. I thought that was hilarious. That's Steel City street fight between KO, Sami Zayn, Judgment Day was amazing, man. There was just so much going on, and it took basically 5 people to defeat KO and Sammy. As MK in the chat says, bummer that Sammy and KO lose the tag titles. Don't think it was a good run, but could have been better. That match was tremendous. It's gonna be interesting to see where KO and Sammy go from here. You know, I just hope they don't turn on each other, but you know, we've seen that story enough. I want them to be on the same page almost for the rest of their WWE career, to be honest with you. Then we had the Grayson of Waller effect with Cody Rhodes. That was the scoop of Jey Uso joining Monday Night Raw as he drops Grayson Waller. Women's World Title, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez. Pretty decent match there. Fans weren't into it a lot, but I thought it was a pretty good match. Good showing between two of the powerhouses in the women's division. No surprise that Rhea Ripley retained on that as well. Then the main event, Shinsuke Nakamura, Seth Rollins, was I thought it was great. I thought it was a great main event. Was kind of hoping Shinsuke would get the world title here because he's just, I mean, they said it, Michael Cole said it himself, or maybe Corey Graves at the start of the match. This is Shinsuke's first solo main event. So, you know, I was kind of hoping he'd break through finally and get that world title. Seth retained it though. Like we said earlier with Matt, maybe Jey Uso is the guy to take that from him. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, you know, now the word's out there that Seth's back is messed up. He's going to need surgery. So hopefully, hopefully there's a good story coming along next. Maybe Jey, I don't know, but I mean, Jey Uso is going to be a babyface, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. And so we got 2 minutes till Monday Night Raw. I will not be live tweeting Raw tonight, but always follow me on the Twitter at JB Huskers and Matt on the Twitter at Raw F Showtime. Matt will be watching Raw live tweeting. I got a fantasy football draft, so I will not be watching Raw live tonight. I'll probably watch it tomorrow while I'm working. We got the Tornado Tag Team match between the Glass Bros and Viking Raiders. Jey Uso and Seth Rollins are set for promos. Nakamura taking on Ricochet. Shayna Baszler takes on Zoe Stark. Raquel Rodriguez taking on Chelsea Green. Miz is going to have a promo. Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough. And, of course, the IC title on the line. Gunther versus Chad Gable. With that said, for Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. I appreciate you guys joining us for Lost the Midcard. Hope you guys have a good week. And we will be back at you at the same time, about 6:10 Central, 7:10 Central next Monday. And as always, we are brought to you by Bet Online. Have a good week, guys.